Hi there, we have today got Madu with us, who is doing a mock test.
Hi.
And we're in her car, because I believe you said you feel more comfortable in this car, don't you? Because you've driven it since August or so.
Yeah.
But obviously, haven't done a test since August, have you, I don't think, because all the COVID stuff and...
Yeah, so my test was supposed to be on March, and then it got obviously postponed to July now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so it's a bit tricky. It's almost like a year's delay, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a lot of delays with all this COVID stuff and that. So just to explain to you how this the mock test is going to work, Madu, it's going to last about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It's going to, we're basically going to be following the road ahead at all times. If you want you to turn left or right, I'll let you know in plenty of time.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, at any point if you're not sure of where you're going, please do ask me.
Yeah.
It's going to include one reversing manoeuvre and possibly an emergency stop.
Okay.
And it's also going to include about 20 minutes of independent driving, which today, because I've forgotten to bring my sat nav, we're going to be doing following some road signs.
Yeah.
We're also going to start off with a tell me question, because you might need to get two do these, one tell me, one show me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a tell me question. So can you tell me how you would check your tyres to ensure they have sufficient tread depth and their condition is safe for use on the road?
So you just need to check all the tires to make sure that there's no cuts or bulges anywhere. And then you have this measuring thing, I forgot the name of it. You can check if it's up to 2 millimeter tread depth in your tires.
Okay. The correct answer to this question would be there must be at least 1.6 millimeters of tread across the central 3/4 of the tyre around the entire circumference. Okay, thank you. And I'm also going to ask you just a show me question on the move, just to demonstrate one of the controls on your car while you're driving. So, any questions at the moment?
No.
Okay. So we're going to actually start off with a bit of independent driving.
Okay.
We're going to move off from here, and the Crawley test centre for the video is just literally around the corner, but we've parked here so we're not in the way of people on their actual test. So we're basically going to start off by following the road signs for Crawley and the A23.
Okay.
Unless I direct you otherwise. So, any questions?
No.
Okay, so if you can please drive on when it's safe to.
Okay.
Madu could have slowed down a bit here, and if it's safe to, move to the left lane for Crawley, as the middle lane is the overtaking lane and she's not overtaking. But the middle lane does still go for Crawley, so it doesn't create any great issue, as she does then return to the left lane immediately after exiting the roundabout. In this situation, I would have personally dropped back a bit so I'm not so close to the bronze coloured car in the right lane. This is, if they then move lanes, I'm not going to be an issue to them whatsoever. Where Madu is, if they move lanes, you'll have to brake harshly to avoid a collision. And I'd now like to follow the road signs towards Gatwick. So I direct you off right to Gatwick. When slowing down, Madu does have a habit of doing multiple gear changes. So for example here, she's in gear 5 and then she starts to slow down for the roundabout. She does 5 to 4, then 4 to 3, then 3 to 1. So this isn't actually marked as a fault on the driving test, as every time she changes gears, she brings her clutch back up. If her clutch was down the whole time she's doing all those gear changes, she would be coasting and have less control of the car, and it most certainly would be marked against her on a driving test. But, like I say, as she brought the clutch up between each gear change, there's nothing actually wrong with that, but we would probably prefer someone to do less gear changes. So for example, to stay in gear 5 when you approach the roundabout, see what's happening on the roundabout, and then change to the appropriate gear, aiming to do just one gear change. So for example here, I would be staying in gear 5, keeping the clutch up, just braking and scanning ahead, keeping it in gear 5 and then going clutch down straight into gear 2 because it's safe to go. That would have meant we wouldn't have done gear 4 as Madu did, as Madu selected gear 4 but didn't actually end up using it, so it's essentially an unnecessary gear change. When stopping, Madu does have a bit of a habit of selecting neutral just before she fully stops. It's not marked as a fault, however, as it's literally half a second before she stops. What she should be doing is waiting until the car's fully stopped and then selecting neutral. You say it's the hotel you work at, isn't it? So is it, what do you do there? Is it say you're
I'm the
back of house, whatever it's called?
front of house.
Front of house.
So you have reception, concierge, guest relations.
So you do a bit of everything?
Yeah, so that department has got like 5 different departments, so night team and then reception and concierge, guest relations.
Cool. Looking at the road signs here, you can see it's either middle or right lane for the M23. If you're not overtaking, you should normally use the middle lane. The right lane is the overtaking lane. By sheer luck, the right lane was actually the best lane to use here, as the middle lane is busier. Not that Madu could have told that from further back. Madu does put a left signal on a tiny bit early here. She should wait till she passes the upcoming exit, just to avoid any confusion. Given the fact that all the traffic is slowing down in front due to the ambulance, and it didn't really affect anyone, I decided to give no driver fault. When merging with the traffic in a moment, Madu does check her mirrors and signal really well in good time, but she does to a sideways glance her blind spot check quite late. I'd like to see her doing the check now, and doing it maybe at least twice before she merged. However, she just does it this one time, about now, which if there was a kind of blind spot, might be a bit late to deal with it. Signs towards town centre, please. Hi guys, I thought I'd just show you this book to add to your collection. The New Driver's Handbook. It's a 3-in-1 book and it's got some pretty good reviews from a driving examiner and a driving instructor. It has over 800 practice theory test questions, common driving test faults, driving test general tips, and advice on dealing with nerves on the big day. Finally, it has tips for after you've passed your test, including vehicle maintenance and driving abroad. You can find a link to this book in the description below. Now, back to the video. Slightly my fault back there because I was initially to pull off from that road, but I didn't realise there was that parked car opposite. So yeah, nothing against you there. That's just I didn't browse hill that parked car was opposite.
Yeah.
Opposite you on that bit there. So if you can please drive on when it's safe to.
Oh,
so
no.
don't be really not a good idea, is that, Madu, to be looking at writing. It's not going to help, is it, by what I'm writing?
Too bad.
So I would like you to take the next road on the left, please. Just before this blue Mini, get fairly close to them, about a car length away from them. Yeah, that'd be great just there, thanks. So It's just another one of the several sort of routine stops they do. And if you can then please drive on when it's safe to. Roundabout and then take the first available road on the right.
Okay, so I go straight.
And the next available road on the right.
On that one.
When stopped at the traffic lights, Madu is holding the clutch at biting point while holding her foot brake on. This isn't marked as a fault as she does keep control, but it's not very good for the car, as your biting point is telling the car to go and your foot brake is telling the car to stop. It would have been best to hold the clutch fully down until the traffic lights change to red and amber, and then you're getting ready to go. Set of traffic lights, I'd like you to turn left, please. This being the first set. pull up on the left, just somewhere along this road. On your driving test, the examiner may ask you to pull up on the left on busier roads such as this. This is not to trick you, but to make sure you can stop and start in flowing traffic. It's also worth noting, you're not going to be stopped for long at all. It's almost like you're stopping to drop off a passenger and then you're off again. Because on this road I certainly wouldn't be parking here overnight, but just to stop to drop someone off wouldn't be an issue. Someone that's ready to be great, please, we can just pop left just on this road.
Okay, so I'm just
That's great. So it's just another routine stop, just so you can stop and start in different situations.
Yeah.
So if you can now please drive on when you're ready.
Okay.
When moving away here, Madu is slightly hesitant as there is a vehicle behind her, but she does realise it's safe to go as the oncoming vehicle stops her from overtaking her. She then signals in good time and pulls away safely. However, she does forget to check her blind spots, so this is given as a driver fault. At the end of the road, turn right and then turn immediately left. When moving away here, Madu didn't actually need to signal right. This is because her road position is so good, she's just left of the centre line, so that's a strong enough signal for the vehicle behind us to tell them we're going to go round the parked van. However, as the signal didn't mislead anyone, no fault was given. I'd like you to find a safe place to pull up on the right, on the opposite side of the road, just somewhere along here, please. Thanks for that. So now what I'd like to do, I'd like you to reverse back for a couple of car lengths, so for 2 to 3 car lengths, keeping reasonably close to the curb.
Okay.
I will let you know when you've gone back further enough.
Okay.
So start whenever you're ready. When reversing here, Madu has her clutch at biting point while pressing the brake, similar to like at the traffic lights a moment ago. And as discussed before, it's not great for the car, but no fault is given as Madu does keep control. But what she ideally should have done here is held the clutch down and just use her brakes to roll back slowly as we are in a mild hill. This would not be coasting, as when you're below 10 miles an hour, you will need the clutch down to stop it from stalling and struggling. just there, thanks. And if you can please drive on when you're ready.
Okay.
Thanks for that. Should you please know that's the reversing manoeuvre done with. And then we're going to drive on in a moment, and when we do drive, I'm just going to let you know now, at the end of the road we're going to turn right. Once we turned right, we're then going to another T-junction which we're going to turn left at. So it's end of the road right, and then left, just because they are fairly close. So if you drive on, then it's safe too. road signs here, we can use both the left and the middle lane for Brighton, A23. Madu is in the right lane. That's the overtaking lane, and it's also one when she goes round the roundabout, she exits in the overtaking lane. But no fault is given, as it doesn't affect anything very much. When exiting the dual carriageway, I would normally advise people to signal at the 300-yard marker just now. Madu does the signal shortly after the 200-yard marker, so it's a tad late, but not worthy of marking a fault.
When you see the roundabout coming up, we'll be turning left to the first exit. Just before the wooden bus shelter. And what I might add just for you know, before we stopped, we had that van behind us.
Yes.
Then really blocked our view. Can I just suggest you actually back up, just so that doesn't happen again?
Okay.
Because we basically use the whole space ourselves, just so someone doesn't try and sneak in behind us.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that'd be fine just there. Just because it really blocked our view, didn't it? And of course, on a fast-moving road, it's
a little bit dodgy if you're trying to pull out and you can't see behind you fully. Back when that van was behind you and that. So I know it seems a bit cheeky, but yeah, it's not very nice that van went behind us. So so you want to switch the engine off and make yourself feel comfortable. So that's the end of the test. Just give me a moment while I. So, and you have passed.
Passed?
Yeah.
How? Oh my god.
Tell me why you say how. What kind of?
Oh my god, I thought this serious here. Oh my god.
So that's the thing though. Do you want to be thinking about what they're writing?
I know you said this before we started the test. I'm really sorry. I did not expect myself to pass.
What made you think it was a serious fault? Because I gave you 4 driver faults overall. So it's actually a very good drive.
Oh.
What made you think it was a serious fault?
If I could hug you, I would right now. Seriously, I'm so happy. Like, I really hope my test is gonna be like this.
Yeah, it's a very nice drive. Was there anything you thought there was a serious fault, or was it just because you saw me writing something?
Yeah, because I saw you writing. I was like, oh, this must have been a serious. Oh my
so
God.
I'll just explain what that drive fault was for. So the drive fault I gave for, or do you know what it was for? For positioning on your normal stops.
Yeah,
Do you know what it is for?
Not necessarily, but you explained before we start driving.
So it's you stop when I asked you to pull up on the left at one point. You stopped opposite a T junction. So I don't really want to be stopping opposite, so I'm obstructing the junction. So could have gone a bit further forwards and kept away from stopping near the junction.
Yeah.
So that's what a drive fault there was for.
Okay.
I gave one driver fault for your actually it goes in that box for your tell me question. I asked you about the tyres.
Yeah.
You correctly said there shouldn't be any cuts or bulges on the tyres.
Yeah.
And then you said to me something like it should be 2 millimeters, or should be at least 2 millimeters.
The depth of the
tread.
Yeah, the tread.
But it's not. It's at least 1.6 millimeters.
Oh.
So that's what I gave you a drive fault for that. So it's at least. When it gets to 2 millimeters, you'd probably want to get your tyres changed, but legally, and the law answer they're looking for is at least 1.6 millimeters.
Okay.
So that's why I gave you a drive fault for that.
Okay.
I gave a driver fault for move off safety. When we pulled up on the left once, on the road that you're a bit hesitant to stop on, I just said to you, just please stop on this road, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And you made the correct decision to pull out because there was a car behind you, but he couldn't go because there's an oncoming car.
Yeah.
You're a little bit hesitant to go, but your pull away was sort of fine, but you just missed your blind spot check, possibly because you were more busy thinking about that car behind. So I gave a driver fault just for move off safety, but you did your blind spot every other time, but just not that time.
Yeah.
And then I gave a driver fault for signals correctly, which is when we were following the road ahead at a mini roundabout.
Yeah.
It was following the road ahead, second exit, and you signalled right.
Yeah.
And that right signal.
It's the tailgate one, is it?
Yeah, that's it. Do you know how that right signal might mislead someone?
That might be.
Yeah. So best just do no signal there, just avoid any potential confusion.
Yeah.
So they're the 4 drive faults. Just stopping opposite a T junction, just the slight wrong number with the tell me question.
Yeah.
Avoid signalling right to go ahead at mini roundabouts, it's a bit misleading.
Yeah.
And then just once missed a blind spot check when pulling away from the side of the road.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I'm going to turn the camera off now though.
Thank you so much.